Do many people know that ordinary baking soda hides a powerful potential for maintaining health, especially in old age? This readily available powder, which can be found in almost any kitchen, has healing properties that often go unnoticed. Experts are increasingly recognizing baking soda as an underestimated remedy for maintaining well-being in old age. Remember how often you've used baking soda for cleaning, deodorizing, or baking, without thinking about its possibilities for your body. This simple substance has been used for over a century as a mild remedy to relieve discomfort and maintain health. So why is it talked about so little? What valuable recipes remain in the shadows? Next, we will reveal the amazing ways in which baking soda can support the health of older adults, naturally, safely, and affordably. We will also talk about who should be careful and how to use it correctly. If you are striving for well-being and looking for practical tools for healthy aging, keep watching. Let's start with relieving itching and irritation of aging skin. With age, the skin changes, wrinkles, dryness, and sensitivity appear. These changes can be accompanied by unpleasant sensations, itching, tightness, and a feeling of fragility. These little things can disrupt peace and comfort. However, a solution can be found in the kitchen. Baking soda can be a gentle and natural salvation from dryness, which often bothers mature skin. Adding just half a cup of baking soda to a warm bath creates an alkaline solution that balances the skin's pH, reduces inflammation, and soothes irritation. Many older people who have tried baking soda baths note not only soft skin, but also a deep sense of relief. Itching and redness are reduced, and sleep improves. Unlike many cosmetics, baking soda does not contain fragrances, dyes, or preservatives, which reduces the risk of irritating sensitive skin. Scientific studies confirm the anti-inflammatory and antiseptic properties of baking soda. It can help with rashes, eczema, and irritation, restoring skin softness without expensive creams. Combined with warm water, it soothes not only the body but also the mind. This is a ritual of care and self-love. If you've tried many remedies but haven't found relief from itching, especially at night, try a baking soda bath. Immerse yourself in silence and warm water. Sometimes healing can be found not in the pharmacy, but in simple home remedies. Soda can work wonders on the outside, but its effect on the body from the inside, especially on digestion, is even more amazing. Find out how it can help with one of the most common problems among older people. Let's move on to the next point to reveal this secret. Secondly, relief from age-related digestive problems. Over time, even such a simple pleasure as eating can turn into a source of discomfort. Dishes that once served as a symbol of comfort and unity with loved ones sometimes cause a feeling of heaviness, a nagging pain under the pit of the stomach, burning rising up the esophagus, a feeling of fullness that does not disappear after eating. For many elderly people, indigestion becomes an unwanted companion of meals. It creeps up unnoticed without warning and stays for a long time, turning the eating process into a source of anxiety, depriving the joy of taste and communication. This is not just the result of aging, but a consequence of natural changes in the body. The digestive system becomes more vulnerable, its work slows down, and sensitivity to products or medications that previously did not cause a negative reaction increases. Of course, pharmaceutical preparations often promise quick relief from unpleasant sensations, but this is often associated with side effects or risks, especially for people who already have health problems. That is why ordinary baking soda may seem like a real salvation. Half a teaspoon, dissolved in a glass of water, and drunk in small sips, can calm the storm in the stomach. Baking soda has natural alkaline properties, which allows it to neutralize excess acid in the stomach, the very one that causes heartburn and a feeling of heaviness. It does not just mask the symptoms, but helps restore balance. There is something simple, wise, devoid of advertising hype and loud promises in this method of treatment. Only relief, passed down from generation to generation and confirmed by scientific research. For older people who are tired of pills and nightly awakenings due to burning in the stomach, this old recipe can be a real relief. Of course, you should always be careful. Soda contains sodium, and people with high blood pressure or kidney disease should use it only after consulting a doctor. However, with episodic discomfort, especially after eating fatty foods or a late dinner, it can become a reliable helper, a glass of relief available in every kitchen. And perhaps the most valuable aspect of this is that this approach restores a person's sense of control over their body, without having to see doctors or stand in line at the pharmacy. Just the realization that you can feel better with a little help. But the effect of baking soda does not end there. Next, we will talk about the part of the body that we often remember only when the pain becomes unbearable: the legs. The third aspect of using baking soda concerns maintaining the health of the feet and eliminating unpleasant odors, a problem that affects many. Feet, these tireless workers, accompany a person throughout their life, carrying them through joys and sorrows. With age, they begin to send signals of discomfort, painful sensations after minor walks, swelling, itching, cracks, and an unpleasant odor that is difficult to eliminate. For the elderly, foot care becomes not only a matter of physical comfort, but also of preserving their sense of dignity. And here comes baking soda to the rescue, this humble but effective ally. Often, feet are left without due attention until they remind you of themselves with pain. However, a simple procedure, a warm bath with the addition of a couple of tablespoons of baking soda, can be a real salvation. This is not just a way to soften the skin or get rid of unpleasant odors, but also an opportunity to devote time to caring for a part of the body that is often forgotten. By immersing the feet in water, a person allows baking soda to begin its gentle but effective work. It neutralizes acids that cause unpleasant odors, suppresses the development of fungal infections, and relieves inflammation. Warm water opens pores, and the alkaline environment created by baking soda restores the skin's natural balance. As a result, tired feet feel rested, soothed, and supported. One of the main advantages of baking soda is its availability. There is no need for prescriptions or complex devices, just a basin, warm water, and a pinch of powder. People who regularly take such baths report a reduction in skin cracks, a decrease in the manifestations of fungal infections, and, most importantly, a return of a feeling of lightness. This is especially important for people with diabetes or limited mobility. However, foot care is not just about physical relief. There is something more to this process: the opportunity to slow down, feel your body, and thank it for the journey it has taken. The unpleasant odor also recedes, thanks to the ability of baking soda to absorb moisture and destroy bacteria. The skin remains dry, fresh, and less susceptible to infections. Caring for the body is not limited to the feet. Baking soda can also be useful for oral care. Its effectiveness in cleaning dentures and other orthodontic appliances may pleasantly surprise you. The fourth aspect, restoring freshness to dentures and orthodontic appliances. Over the years, not only wisdom comes, but also subtle changes in the body. One of the most delicate and difficult moments that many people face in adulthood is the transition from natural teeth to dentures, partial constructions, or other orthodontic devices. Initially, this is perceived as a loss of familiar comfort and even self-confidence. The oral cavity, which was previously not thought about, now requires special attention and careful care. However, something truly valuable can be reborn in this care. And here comes baking soda to the rescue in its simple but surprisingly useful form. Unlike most industrial products filled with chemicals and fragrances, baking soda offers a natural and non-toxic way to keep orthodontic products clean, fresh, and comfortable. 1 tablespoon, dissolved in warm water, turns into a soothing solution that effectively removes stains, eliminates plaque, and neutralizes unpleasant odors. There is something encouraging in this: simplicity, efficiency, and authenticity, as in many old time-tested recipes. But it's not just about cleaning. For an elderly person, A clean and healthy oral cavity is an opportunity to eat without pain, speak without embarrassment, and smile again with confidence. Baking soda helps to maintain this freedom. It gently polishes without damaging the surface, disinfects without irritation, and refreshes without the use of chemical additives. It restores not only the cleanliness of dentures, but also self-confidence. This is especially important for a sensitive oral cavity. Elderly people often experience dryness and irritation of the gums, and in this case, baking soda, with its alkaline, mild, and soothing properties, becomes a safe alternative to aggressive cleaning agents. Many who use it regularly note that orthodontic products last longer, feel more comfortable, and the unpleasant odor disappears. In this quiet ritual, when dentures are submerged in a glass of water, a sense of control emerges. The person regains a sense of ownership over their body, their cleanliness, and their comfort. A small action but with profound meaning. By taking care of these devices, we also take care of ourselves. We maintain the ability to chew, taste, speak, and communicate. But what if baking soda can do more than just maintain freshness? What if it can alleviate pain, sharp, throbbing, and sudden, like in gout attacks, when every step becomes an agonizing ordeal? The fifth aspect worthy of attention concerns relief from gout flare-ups. Anyone who has experienced the torments of gout knows the unique and unbearable pain. It doesn't sneak up but strikes suddenly, often in the middle of the night, affecting a joint, be it the big toe or ankle, with a burning sensation, swelling, and immobilizing stiffness. For an elderly person, this is not just pain. It disrupts sleep, limits mobility, and diminishes independence. Suddenly, even simply walking to the kitchen or getting up from a chair becomes difficult. Gout arises from the accumulation of uric acid, which crystallizes in the joints, causing inflammation. For many years, people have had to resort to prescription medications, which are often necessary. But there is also a humble remedy that can be found in every kitchen: baking soda. While it may seem like too simple a solution, baking soda, also known as sodium bicarbonate, has alkaline properties, which allow it to reduce blood acidity. Preliminary research and numerous testimonials suggest that moderate consumption of baking soda, just half a teaspoon dissolved in a glass of water, can create a less favorable environment in the body for uric acid accumulation. It is important to emphasize that this is not a replacement for medical treatment, but rather a way to gently support the body's balance, especially at the first signs of an impending attack. However, in addition to the chemical effect, there is also a psychological aspect, the awareness that there is a simple and natural remedy at hand, requiring no prescriptions, cues, or complicated procedures. Just a glass of water and a moment of peace in the kitchen. For elderly people tired of complex treatment regimens, this form of self-care can be a real lifesaver. Of course, a doctor's consultation is necessary, especially if there are problems with blood pressure or kidneys, as baking soda contains sodium. But with a reasonable approach, it can alleviate not only joint pain, but also the anxiety that often accompanies chronic pain syndromes. When the swelling subsides and movement becomes possible again, not only physical ease returns, but also freedom. The freedom to walk, move, and live without constant tension. But the beneficial properties of baking soda do not end there. It can also bring relief in unexpected situations. In case of discomfort during urination, which often disrupts peace in old age. The sixth aspect is related to relieving discomfort during urination, a delicate problem that can significantly cloud life. Burning, tingling, and frequent urges, although invisible to the eye, can cause particular concern, indicating possible problems with the urinary tract. Elderly women face this more often than others. Starting with a slight sense of urgency, the problem quickly escalates into constant anxiety. Every visit to the toilet becomes a source of pain, and the feeling of unease in the body is relentless. This disrupts sleep, undermines self-confidence, and gradually deprives one of the joy of familiar activities, whether it's a walk, rest, or even a sincere laugh. In old age, the body becomes more susceptible to various imbalances. natural changes, medications taken, drinking habits, and level of physical activity. All of these have an impact. Of course, antibiotics play an important role in treating infections, but while waiting for healing, there is a need for gentle, natural, and safe relief. And this is where ordinary baking soda comes to the rescue. It is a reminder that help should not always be sought on pharmacy shelves. Dissolving half a teaspoon of baking soda in a glass of water can slightly change the acidity of urine and thereby reduce the sensation of burning. Even if the effect is minor, it can be very noticeable precisely at the moment when peace is especially needed. It is important to emphasize that baking soda is not a medicine and cannot replace qualified medical care for serious symptoms. However, it is a simple way to take care of oneself during a period when the body seems particularly vulnerable. It is a reminder that a person retains the ability to influence their well-being. For elderly individuals, especially those managing multiple diagnoses and taking several medications simultaneously, the simplicity of this remedy can be a true blessing. To get through a day without nagging lower abdominal pain, feeling harmony with one's body, is already a significant achievement. For many seniors, a warm glass of water with baking soda becomes more than just a home remedy. It transforms into a restorative ritual, a symbol of trust, and a small act of self-care. However, internal discomfort isn't the only issue one might face. Sharp, stinging pain caused by small mouth ulcers can turn even a sip of water into an ordeal. And here, baking soda can also be helpful. The seventh wonder of the home medicine cabinet. Baking soda against mouth ulcers. It may seem like nothing. A tiny, barely noticeable spot on the inside of the cheek, under the tongue, or on the gum. However, for those familiar with aphthous ulcers, this trifle turns into real torture. The pain comes on suddenly and lasts long, making eating a torment, making conversation difficult, and a sip of warm tea a cause of involuntary grimaces. It is especially difficult for the elderly, whose sensitivity is already increased due to dry mouth, medication, or wearing dentures. These ulcers, although not seriously dangerous, can greatly spoil the quality of life, appearing as a result of stress, overwork, or minor injuries, such as accidentally biting the cheek. And although in most cases they pass on their own, waiting for recovery can seem unbearably long. In such moments, a simple, effective, and safe remedy comes to the rescue: baking soda. Thanks to its alkaline nature and mild antiseptic properties, it helps restore the acid-base balance in the oral cavity, neutralizing excess acidity, which only increases irritation. Preparing the solution is elementary. Simply dissolve half a teaspoon of baking soda in a glass of warm water and rinse your mouth once or twice a day. This procedure helps reduce pain, relieve inflammation, and speed up the healing process. And these aren't just old wives' tales. Numerous dental studies confirm that rinsing with baking soda solution really alleviates symptoms and promotes faster recovery. But, perhaps, even more valuable than scientific evidence is the feeling of peace and comfort that this remedy gives. It's like returning to childhood, when grandmother, leaning in carefully, whispered, "Rinse your mouth with baking soda, and everything will pass." No side effects, no color or smell, just gentle relief. For those who are wary of potent drugs and aggressive mouthwashes, baking soda becomes a real salvation. And at that moment, when a person leans over the sink, rinsing their mouth with warm water, it is no longer just treatment, but a short respite, a deep breath, a manifestation of self-care. However, soda is able not only to heal small ulcers. You may be surprised to learn that it can give the body energy, increase muscle endurance, reduce fatigue, and support the body during physical activity or during the recovery period after illness. But more on that later. The quiet power of simple things. That's the way of the elderly to gentle healing. Entering mature age, we change our attitude to health. It ceases to be just a fight against diseases and turns into the art of preserving what still functions. alleviating suffering and supporting weakened organs. And in this art, simplicity becomes our main ally, and baking soda is one of the brightest symbols of this philosophy. This material discusses various uses of ordinary baking soda, which can be very useful for older people. This affordable white powder can relieve pain from mouth ulcers, reduce joint inflammation, relieve discomfort during urination, and even freshen dentures. Soda clearly demonstrates that effective remedies do not always need to be sought in complex laboratory developments or in the range of pharmacies. Sometimes effective solutions are very close, on the kitchen shelf, and are waiting for the moment to be discovered. But it's not just about listing the beneficial properties of baking soda. It is rather a delicate reminder that caring for the body remains important at any age. Moreover, this care does not have to be complicated and expensive. It can manifest itself in simple, soothing rituals, such as a warm bath or rinsing the mouth with baking soda solution. These actions are not just hygiene procedures, but acts of respect for oneself, quiet affirmations of one's own importance, and right to comfort and well-being. In today's rapidly changing world, where new and often overly complex solutions are constantly being pushed, wisdom lies in returning to the basics, slowing down the pace of life, and using simple, time-tested remedies. Of course, baking soda is not a panacea for all ailments. Its use requires a sensible approach and caution, especially for people with kidney disease, hypertension, or other chronic conditions. However, in certain situations, it can be a valuable addition to a lifestyle based on mindfulness, balance, and simplicity. Perhaps the main lesson to be learned from this is that self-care does not always require significant expense, complex technologies, or exotic ingredients. Sometimes a pinch of baking soda, a glass of water, and a willingness to listen to your body's needs are enough. For older adults striving to age gracefully, baking soda becomes not just a means to solve specific problems, but a quiet companion on the path to peace, comfort, and emotional balance. Therefore, the next time you see that familiar box of baking soda on the shelf, remember not only its cleansing properties, but also its potential for healing and the possibility of feeling better. Strive for daily self-improvement, finding inspiration in simple life lessons that will help you live each day genuinely and fully. Consider which of the suggested tips you would like to incorporate into your life and share your thoughts with others to support each other on this journey, revealing the power of simple but important truths. Express your gratitude for the opportunity to be part of this process, striving to live in accordance with your own principles and